A very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to week 11's tutorial class. And just as per the advice given in our lecture class, in today's class, we'll be going over our case study and critique writing in the tutorial questions. Moreover, we will also go around looking at the research project. Okay, so the research project, those of you hadn't had a look at it as yet, okay, it's already out on Moodle, okay, and I hope that you had a good look at it. And please do note that it is due on the 31st of October, okay, close to about 24 days from now. So please ensure that you try to attempt it very, very well. And also it's supposed to be done in groups. More on it will be discussed in the later sections of the class. Apart from that, if you look at your assessments guide on Moodle under my assessment section of the Moodle shell, so your lecture-based quiz, it will be ongoing all the way down till week 14. Critical writing you have already attempted, which carried 5% towards your coursework. You have also attempted your mid-semester exam, which carried 15% towards your coursework. Your research project and presentation, the very last element, that is something that you will be doing within the next few weeks. Okay, so please do note that you'll have to be a bit timely because you also have to revise for your final examination. Now, also note this is that your lecture-based quiz, all of your lecture-based quizzes, they are due on the 31st of October, week 14. So 31st of October is week 14 Sunday. Now, I will not be giving you any further extensions on your on your lecture-based quizzes because it has been due for quite some time. You were given ample time on it, so no extensions at all for your lecture-based quizzes. All right. Now, without further delays, let's go and talk about our tutorial questions. I hope that you are able to see the screen clearly right in front of you. The feedback that I'm getting from my Zoom is that you are able to see the shared screen tutorial questions in front of you. So you had a total of 13 questions that you were supposed to attempt and submit it in the discussion forum. So these were the questions. So first question was, how do integrations connect a corporation? Question number 2, what is the difference between forward and backward integrations? Question number 3, what are the 5 primary activities in a supply chain? Question number 4, what is the bullwhip effect and how it can impact a supply chain and a firm's profitability? Question number 5, why are customer relationships important to an organization? Do you agree that every business needs to focus on customers to survive in the information age? Yes or no, you need to state in your answer. Question number 6, what is the difference between operational and analytical CRM? Question number 7, how can a sales department use CRM to improve operations? Question number 8, how can a marketing department use CRM to improve operations? Question number 9, what is the difference between customer relationship management, supplier relationship management, and employee relationship management? Question number 10, what is an enterprise resource planning system? Question number 11, what are the core components of core ERP system? Question number 12, what are the components in an extended ERP system? And the very last question is, what does a company need to integrate to become connected? Okay, so these are the questions that have been directly pulled from your lecture notes. Okay, so do note that whatever questions that are given, these are in direct relations to your lecture notes. Now, also some questions are sort of like application questions. That is, you will read the concepts in the lecture notes and then you'll try to apply it into different scenarios. If I have to say so, look at question number 7. 8, how can a sales department use CRM to improve operations? So you know what or CRM does. Read through it if you do not know. What is CRM? What are the components? Now, how can it improve operations in a sales department? Now, using the functionalities, using the capabilities of a CRM, using the operations of a CRM, you're supposed to bring in some sort of knowledge and implement into a sales department. Now remember, this is a 700 level course, whereby in 700 level course, you mostly deal with analysis, evaluation, and application of things, of syllabus. Okay, so please ensure to learn how to answer such kind of questions. Now that reminds me, while I was marking some of your mid-semester exam questions, now some of you did not actually went around fully answering the question. If the question says list and describe, list and explain, apply. Now some of you went around listing things, not explaining, listing things, not describing. Now, if you are one of those who had listed things and not described, I've chopped up marks. Most likely you will be getting half or less than half of those marks because you have missed on to the key aspect of a question, whereby you have to go and explain and describe things. Okay, if it says apply, you should know how to apply knowledge into specific areas. So that means you need to know about the concept at all. For example, if I would tell you apply improvements in sales department using a CRM, so you need to know what CRM is, what all are its functionalities. So based on that, how can you apply some form of improvements in the sales department? So these are application kind of questions. And definitely such kind of questions will exist in your final examination. Okay, so please remember and do get well versed of such kinds of questions. Another type of question that you'll be getting in your final examinations is critique-based questions. So when we say critique, it's just like a concept would be thrown out to you and you're supposed to weigh out. Now your weighing out can be in favor or it can be against the type of question that has been asked. And so if you favor, you have to give in some form of explanation. If you are not in favor or if you're against it, you need to give in your explanation with valid reasons. If you just say yes and do not give reasons, you will not be given any marks. Okay, if you say yes, but at the same time, if you would give in any form of reasoning that draws out a conclusive idea, that's where you will be able to get full marks. All right, so without much delays, let's hop into the very first thing, or very first checks or checklist from our class today is critique. Now we'll read this out, and based on that, we'll try to draw out some critique. Now, grocery stores all over the United States use coupons as a way to compete for customers and keep customer loyalty high. Now, coupon can be many ways. Sometimes with coupons, you are able to get free items. Sometimes using coupons, you are able to get discounts. Okay, now it doesn't say which kind of coupon, it could be any kind. So this is very common. Now, do we get something like this here in Fiji? Few places, yes. Majority places, no. But if you're purchasing something online, okay, and if you're well versed with online purchasing of items, when I say online, basically an overseas based website or a platform or e-commerce or mobile commerce platform, coupons are a common thing. Okay, Safeway produces coupons. By the way, Safeway is an online or an e-commerce shopping website, produces coupons on demand based on the products currently in the customer's cart. Okay, now what happens is they produce a coupon based on the items that the customer is currently buying. That means buying in that point in time. Kroger. Now, Kroger is also a well-versed e-commerce site. The sister company of Kroger is Kruger, okay, CRU, okay, and what they do is they sell almost any items on the web, okay. Kroger analyzes customer loyalty data gathered over several years. So there's a vast difference between the two companies. Safeway, it basically gives coupons based on the current buying, whereas Kroger, what it does, it gathers data over a period of time, most likely several years or several months. Over there, it says several years, and then it tries to give out some form of coupons. Knowing most customers throw junk mail in the garbage, Kroger uses analytics to mine the customer loyalty data, program data, to ensure the coupons are specific for each family, offering only items they have bought in the past Kroger mails over 15 million coupons per quarter. Now, if I have to analyze this and then sum it up in simple terms, they go and survey the data over a period of time, and then they go and see which items you have bought the most, or most specific or preferable item, and gives coupons based on that. Now, Safeway and Kroger are gathering data at different points in the supply chain. Now, how come different points? Because one is giving coupons with the current purchases at that point in time, probably instant, and the other one is gathering up data. Now, a very good example here of supply chain is you have an operations analytics, and then you have a analytical sort of a supply chain. Now, with operational supply chain or method of gathering data is gathered on how it takes place in that point in time on transaction basis. Whereas analytical supply chain gathers data over a period of time and makes some form of decision or knowledge from it. Okay, so that's the difference. Now, Safeway does not get the customer data and only analyzes what is currently in the customer's cart, giving coupons in real time to all daily customers. Like I mentioned earlier, Kroger gets customer data over several years and mails coupons based on historical data to loyalty customer card holders only. Now, there's two different business models altogether. One is based on currently in the customer's cart. Now, cart is basically a temporary holding area for customers. If they're interested in an item in online purchasing, they can hold of that item in a cart, and finally, once they want to buy that item, they'll have to go into the cart and then purchase the items all together. Now, in the cart, you can always go and modify which items to buy. You can always go and cross compare things. Okay, now with Kroger, it does the opposite. Now, what it does, it sends coupons over mail over historical data. That means over purchases during a specific or certain period of time, and then gives coupons to the loyal customers only. Now, what we are supposed to do is, what are the pros and cons of using these two different strategies to produce coupon? Given the choice, which method would you use and why? Now, let's go and draw out some of the pros and cons. So first of all, let's go and look at Safeway. Now, what Safeway does is they present the coupon based on the current card. Now, is that a pro? Is that a con? Now, pro advantage, con disadvantage. Now, the advantage for doing such would be is this: you are encouraging your customer to buy the item. For example, if the customer has 10 to 15 items in the cart, and the customer is choosing to buy probably one or two, if they see all the items have certain amounts of coupon, that means giving some form of discount or freebie, they may go and buy everything. So that's a pro. Now, the con or the disadvantage in such case would be is it becomes very difficult to have loyal customers or good customer retention rate. Why? Reason being why is because now it does build a certain level of customer loyalty or retention rate because you're giving coupons, so customers will go and return every now and then. However, if you have certain items in your bulk which is not being sold over a period of time, so you do not know which type of customers to market these products to, because you are not studying historical data. Okay, so in that case, that would be one of the biggest disadvantages that Safeway has. Now, coming to Kroger, now Kroger studies data over a period of time. Okay, so the con of Safeway becomes the pro for Kroger. In other words, if they have certain items in their bulk which are not being sold for a period of time and they would just like to get rid of it, so let's say they pull off a special and they send emails or they send marketing mails to those customers who once had purchased those items. Now, how are they able to do so? Due to the historical data that they have. Now, the disadvantage for Kroger would be what? What could be the disadvantage for Kroger then? Now, the disadvantage for Kroger in that case is they would not have a instant marketing or instant impact on the customer like Safeway has. Because once the customers have put the items on their cart, Safeway straight away pulls out coupons and gives it out to the customers. Okay. Whereas Kroger does not. So that becomes a disadvantage to Kroger. Any questions, anyone? Let me repeat that. For Safeway, okay, the pros would be is they have a instant impact or marketing impact with the customers. Con is that they are not able to study historical data. Therefore, while marketing for specific products, they have no data which customer or which type of customers to target. Whereas Kroger, they have historical data. They can always go and they know what type of data, what type of customers or which customers to target for a specific product. Disadvantage, they have very little impact on the current customers or new customers. Now, if you look at overall for Safeway and Kroger, which one has a better business model, Safeway or Kroger? Can we have some discussions flowing in? So what do you think? Which company has more impact on the customers or better business model? Now it can vary. Why it can vary? Because with Safeway, okay, what can they say is they are more focused on getting new customers every now and then. Whereas with Kroger, now they can say is that they are more focused on customer retention. That means getting the old customers. Now, overall, if I have to choose one of those two methods, most likely I'll go with Kroger. Why with Kroger? Because with that, I have a good record of historical data. Now, with the record of historical data, I can always go and forecast. I can go and evaluate. I can go and make future decisions as to which type of customers to target. Also, moreover, with the future data, I can also go and adapt to a model that even Safeway is adapting to. If I become a data analyst for Kroger, if I notice that I am retaining customers, but I'm not getting new customers because I have the data with me, then I will go and find some strategic techniques to ensure that I'm also able to attract new customers as well. Okay, so my option out of those two would be Kroger. Historical data, studying historical data is very important. That's why one of the main reasons why we have ERP is to go over the data, to analyze them, to evaluate them, and to draw certain type of knowledge or intellect out of it. Anyone has any other answers? If you disagree with me or if you'd like to add on, Ritika or Shalini, you're most welcome to speak. Or if you have any questions. No questions?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, thank you, Shalini and Ritika. Okay, if no questions, let's start looking at the case study. Now, the case study is simple one. We may finish it within about 15 to 20 minutes time. And the world of ERP may seem boring to those caught up in the hysteria over Twitter and iPhone applications, but there's plenty of drama to be found. Okay, now ERP and Twitter and let's say social media applications, they are of two different worlds. Why? Because with ERP, you're most likely studying the current and historical data. With Twitter and other social media, you're most likely you are looking up at some of the dramas over the social media. Now, not only that, there are so many businesses who operate and successfully venture into such type of businesses, okay, in social media, okay. However, those are two different worlds. Now, troubled multi-million-dollar software deals that produce spectacular failures and huge spending nightmares vendor marketing bravado that breeds cutthroat competition and contempt and embarrassing and costly lawsuits over botched implementations and intellectual property breaches. What it simply means is that these are some of the things that might most likely go on if your ERP is not successfully integrated and implemented within the organization. Consider CIOs.com's brief and semi-chronological history of 5 ERP scandals as a warning if you are contemplating an upgrade or implementation. Now, this is not to scare you or not to scare organizations, but these are some of the ERP scandals that took place over the period of time. And these are the top 5 ones, by the way. Okay. And this took place while the organizations were trying to upgrade or implement their ERP systems. One, definitely not a sweet experience for Hershey. Now, Hershey, chocolate company, okay, one of the largest ones. Now, you must know that Cadbury is not a thing in the States. They do not have a Cadbury factory in the United States. Okay, Cadbury is most likely found in Australia and New Zealand, but those items are definitely sold in the States, even in Canada. Why? Because they're imported. Okay, the trade market is still ongoing. Hershey's is the biggest name for chocolates in the United States. Could a failed technology implementation take down a Fortune 500 company? In this case, Hershey Foods. Well, it certainly didn't help Hershey's operations during the Halloween season in 1999 or make Wall Street investors thrilled. In the end, Hershey's ghastly problems with SAP ERP, cyber CRM, and linguistic supply chain applications prevented it from delivering 100 million worth of kisses for Halloween. Kisses, by the way, over here is a chocolate, okay, of Halloween that year, and caused the stock to dip 8%. So I guess a failed technology project can't actually take down a Fortune 500 company for good, but it can certainly knock it around a bit. Now, what this case study here is trying to imply is the experience of Hershey's with failed ERP system. Now, what you notice is that they have a SAP-based ERP. SAP is a company, Cybele is another company, CRM, and Linguistic is another company. So they had ERP, CRM, and supply chain management from 3 different companies and integrated and implemented together. Okay, so what happened is, due to certain reasons, now it doesn't say in the case study what caused the error, but they were unable to deliver $100 million worth of chocolates for that Halloween in the year of 1999. Now, it doesn't mean the organization fails if the ERP fails. No, they can definitely proceed without it, but remember, $100 million worth of chocolates were not produced because of some errors with the ERP systems. Okay, $100 million, that's a lot of zeros. Okay, so that's a lot of money. So that much of money gone down the drain for Hershey Foods. Now, second case study is just do it X our supply chain system. Just do it has to be related with Nike. Okay, that's their slogan. Okay, what did a $400 million upgrade to Nike's supply chain and ERP systems get the world-renowned shoe and athletic gear maker? Well, for starters, $100 million is lost sales, a 20% stock dip, and a collection of class action lawsuits. This was all back in 2000, and the horrendous results were due to a bold ERP, supply chain, and CRM project that aimed to upgrade the systems into one superstar system. Nike's tale is both of woe and a warning. Okay, so what happened is Nike, okay, they wanted to integrate their systems, ERP, supply chain, and CRM. Okay, something went wrong, and just because of that, they lost $100 million worth of sales. And to make it worse, 20% stock dip. Now, if the stock levels go down, in Fiji, we don't have much of companies that are that large that produces that many millions and millions of sales per year or per month, that the stock market is widely affected by a loss. Okay, it doesn't happen as such, but in US countries, in overseas countries where companies make billions of dollars, So they are the ones which are running high on stock market. So if something goes wrong, if they lose sales, so the stock market takes a dip, okay, or it takes a downfall. And together with that, it basically costed them some lawsuits, court cases, and so forth. Okay, so something went wrong. What went wrong is not told, okay, but something went wrong while they were trying to upgrade and integrate their ERP, supply chain management, and CRM systems. HP's perfect storm for ERP problems. Now, this one that comes as a surprise to many because HP is also a technology biggie in the world. They are big, okay? HP means high performance. So high performance computers or high performance incorporations, they are one of the largest computing organizations in the world, and they produce a lot of different types of softwares as well. Now they being in a problem for ERP implementation integration is a big surprise for many. Now let's read this. The epic tale of HP's centralization of its disparate North American ERP system onto one SAP system proves that no one can be too pessimistic when it comes to ERP project management. You see, in 2004, HP's project managers knew all of the things that could go wrong with their ERP rollout, but they didn't plan so for many of them to happen at once. The project eventually cost HP $160 million in order backlogs and lost revenue, more than 5 times the project's estimated costs. Said Giles Bouchard, then C10 of HP's, should be CIO rather, Chief Information Officer, not C10, CIO of HP's global operations. We had a series of small problems, none of which individually would have been much to handle, but together they created the perfect storm. Now what happened is the project managers at HP, they were implementing a ERP rollout or ERP system, and they knew that something had gone wrong, but they thought it was manageable. Now, the things that went wrong and costed them $160 million and costed more than 5 times of the project's estimated cost, okay, it happened because of so many things going wrong at once rather than 1 or 2. So just because of that, it was very difficult to handle, and HP overall lost millions of dollars, and they have to go around fixing a lot of backlogs. Backlogs means some things that were when you talk about backlogs, it's like things that are due and they have taken a overdue things. Backlogs are some things that are overdue, and it will take a lot of time to get over those things. So that's what's on HP. A new type of freshman hazing. Treated the college freshman at the University of Massachusetts in fall 2004. The last thing they needed was some computer program to haunt their lives and make their new collegiate experience even more uncertain. But more than 27,000 students at the University of Massachusetts, as well as Stanford University and Indiana University, were forced to do battle with buggy portals and ERP applications that left them at best unable to find their classes and at worst unable to collect their financial aid checks. Said one University Mass senior at the time. The freshmen were going crazy because they didn't know where to go. After a couple of tense days and weeks, however, everyone eventually got their checks and class schedules. Now, what's happening here, or what has happened, is this particular university, they had certain issues with the ERP system, and that led to a lot of difficulties with the student enrollment phase and the financial aids. So just because of that, close to about 27,000 students were affected. Now, how come 27,000 students? University of Massachusetts or Massachusetts Institute of Technology, that is what it is known as at the moment, MIT, is one of the largest universities in the world, probably top 20 or top 15. Okay, so if you're looking at FNU or even if you're looking at FNU and USP combined, we would be not even a dot in front of them. Okay, they're so huge. Okay, so these universities students, they had a lot of issues with the ERP system, and students had a lot of problem in terms of enrolling, in terms of getting their sponsorship or scholarship checks so that they could continue as normal. Fifth case study with ERPs. Waste management trashes its fake ERP software. Garbage disposal giant Waste Management is still embroiled in an acrimonious 100 million legal battle with SAP over an 18-month installation of its ERP software. The initial deal began in 2005, but the deal saga commenced in March 2008 when Waste Management filed suit and claimed SAP executives participated in a fraudulent sales scheme that resulted in the massive failure. Now, till now, what is discussing is this particular company, Waste Management. They filed $100 million of lawsuit over SAP because not he, but the organization feels that SAP is one of the ERP providers, that they were taking part in some fraudulent sale schemes. After several months later, SAP fired back, claiming that Waste Management allegedly violated its contractual agreement with SAP in several ways, including by failing to timely and accurately define its business requirements and not providing sufficient knowledgeable, decision-empowered users and managers to work on the project in the fall of 2008. Accusations were still flying about documentation, depositions, and delays in bringing the case before a judge. And that proposed 18-month implementation now sounds like a dream scenario. So then SAP fired back, telling that, okay, there were some internal issues and Waste Management was not able to provide them with certain business requirements or provide them with sufficient knowledge or users and managers, and that led to the fall of the entire project. So what seemed like an 18 months project, 18 months is about 1.5 years. You must be thinking 1.5 years to implement a software. Yes, it takes 1.5 years, sometimes more than a few years. If you install a banner system, very much similar to an ERP system, it took 3 years for FNU to actually implement that, costing about $28 to $30 million. Okay, so now, yes, it takes that much of time. So it was supposed to take about 18 months, 1.5 years to implement the ERP system, but now it seems like it might take over. It might go on forever because there is a legal lawsuit filed, and unless that case is resolved, only then people can continue. Questions. Why do you think it is so difficult to find successful ERP implementations? So let's go and write down a few answers over there. I've got some simple answers. Okay. Now, why it is so difficult? Please write this down. ERP implementation in general is massive. ERP implementation in general is massive. Full stop. ERP systems span every department in the company. ERP systems span, that means it's spread over, span every department in the company. Comma, a difficult task for people. A difficult task for people and machines. And machines, full stop. With such complexity, how do you spell complexity? Is complex, I-T-Y, complexity. And diversification, D-I-V-E-R-S-I-F-I-C-A-T-I-O-N. DIVERSIFICATION, and diversification among processes, comma, with such massive complexity and diversification among processes, comma, it is difficult to customize. It is difficult to customize, comma, deploy, comma, train, deploy, 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 comma, train, comma, and upgrade these huge expensive systems, full stop. And upgrade these huge expensive systems, full stop. Okay, so this is why there's a lot of difficulty in successfully implementing enterprise resource planning systems. Next question. How do you think cloud computing will help ERP implementations find success? How do you think cloud computing will help ERP implementations find success? So we'll put those in points. First point, easy accessibility. Easy accessibility. Second point, lower cost of implementation. Lower cost of implementation. Moreover, next point, put down, reduce need of additional hardware or software. Reduced need for additional hardware or software. And finally, put down portability. Portability. Okay. Moving on. Question number 3. What advice would you give a company deciding to implement an ERP system? What advice would you give a company deciding to implement an ERP system? Okay, now here answers can vary a lot. Why? Because it depends on what type of company it is, one. Also, it depends on the different types of people who are working within the organization. And also it very much depends on what type of ERP system you're actually employing. Okay, now just to make it a short and a generic one, let's put down a few things. Okay, first of all, consider the cost. One, that's the first one. Consider the cost. 2, ensure that the ERP meets the company's strategic goals. Ensure the ERP meets the company's strategic goals. Moreover, plan the requirements vividly. Plan the requirements vividly. Vividly, V-I-V-I-D-L-Y, vividly, okay? That means clearly or coherently. Next up, ensure resources are available for the implementation. Ensure resources are available for the implementation. Example, ensure resources are available for the implementation. Example, give the example as human resources, technical resources, economic resources, and schedule resources. And the last one is be ready to realign and readjust. Be ready to realign and readjust. What it may mean is that sometimes with the new ERP, you need to go and readjust some of your processes within the organization. So be ready to realign and readjust. Now, question number 4, how can integrating supply chain management, customer relationship management, and enterprise resource planning help improve business operations at your school? How? Okay. Now, at the university level, there are a few things that I could talk about. Is now I have to think from a student point of view in this case. Okay. One is easy registration of courses and students. Easy registration. Second point, no standing unnecessarily in queues. No more standing unnecessarily in queues. Third point, able to perform most of the tasks online. Able to perform most of the tasks online. Example, enrollment, admission, paying of fees, enrollment, admission, paying of fees rather, registering for classes, registering for classes, or hiring a book from the library. Next point, are all-in-one platform. All-in-one platform. Example, you have your email system, your Moodle system, your online student services, all are in separate platforms. So you'll have an all-in-one platform if you have an ERP system with SCM and CRM. And finally, fast and efficient customer services. Fast and efficient customer services. In other words, if we have an ERP implemented within the organization, and let's say FNU, by the way, it is in phase at the moment. So you'll most likely go through these things and you'll see that the overall customer service increases or improves rather. Why it improves? Because whatever used to be done manually, now they are done automatically. They are done more easily than ever. Okay, so that would be a very big impact that a ERP system would carry. All right, next up is, this is where we finish up with our questions on tutorials. Let's go and have a look at your research project. Now your research project, now I've prepared the question, the critic question that was prepared last time was prepared by one of my colleagues in Suva. Okay, this time we have actually combined and created the questions. So it is a research project, so therefore you are bound to do certain amount of research in it. So overall, it carries 15% towards your coursework. And this is how the question is. Okay. Now it's due on the 31st of October. That means 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks, approximately 3 to 4 weeks from now. Now, group formation, you are required to form a group of 3 to 4 members to complete the assessment. Now, you can have 1, 2, you can do it alone, you can have 2 members, you can have 3 members, you can have 4 members, not more than 4 though. Each member has to equally contribute towards the compilation of this project. Failure to comply will result in penalties. For extreme cases, do consult the lecturer. Sometimes you have group members who do not contribute and they are lazing around. Okay, so in that case, if either of the group members complain, the entire group or that member would be segregated from the group. Okay, or marked reductions will incur. Now, part A carries 10%. Enterprise resource planning, ERP, integrates all the departments and functions throughout all organizations into a single system or integrated set of MIS systems, so that employees can make decisions by viewing enterprise-wide information on all business operations. ERP software integrates these various business functions into one complete system to streamline business processes and information across the entire organization. Now, this is very much similar to what you had learned in the lecture class. So ERP integrates all the departments and functionalities of those departments together and presents you out in a single platform. Applications such as supply chain management, customer relationship management, and enterprise resource planning are the backbones of electronic business. Why? Because with CRM, SCM, and ERP, everything is done electronically. Everything is done in automated phase. So that is what electronic business is all about. Integration of these applications is a key success for many companies. Integration allows the unlocking of information to make it available to any user, anywhere, anytime. Integrate means to combine something together. So when you combine these 3 applications, what happens is that you are unlocking to a world of impossibilities. You are making the information available to almost anywhere, almost to anyone, anywhere, anytime, in mobile phones, in laptops, in computers, in different organizations, in the internet, extranet, or over the internet, anyhow. Okay, so these are some of the now this is a direct snippet from the lecture notes. So is this. Now for this project, we are provided with top 10 ERP system based on top analysis rating. The top analysis rating, these are a group of analysts who actually go and rate the ERP systems. So you have 10 of those. You have JD Edwards Enterprise One, which is rated 90, the top. SAP Business by Design 87, Sage Business Cloud X3 86, SysPro System 86, Dynamics 365 ERP software, Light software. You have Delmia Works software, NetSuite One World software, Kinetic software, IFS application software. So these are the ERP systems and their ratings. So you will be asked to choose one of these. Now, just like critic question 1 or the critic question that you had, okay, if you would go around and choose one of it, that option becomes unavailable to others. Now, how do you do that? Now, it is available here. Right underneath my assessments, you can go and choose your ERP systems. Okay, now one has been already selected. Okay, so you can go and choose one is selected. So this option is out. See, it doesn't allow you to select. So you can choose either of these. All right. Now you have to choose an ERP system. A choice feature is provided on Moodle, what I mentioned earlier. Now research on the background and history of the ERP system. So go and do some background search or research on the history of the ERP system. And then further on, go and research on an organization that has used the chosen ERP. That means if you have chosen SysPro software, go and do a background check on that. And after that, go and research on an organization that has used SysPro software, okay? That has used the chosen ERP system and has successfully implemented it. Provide the implementation strategies and factors which led to its success or failure, not less than 2 pages and not more than 3 or 4 pages. So it needs to be between 2 to 4 pages. Now, this is what you do. You found out the ERP, or you've chosen the ERP, you found some background information. I'm sure when you go and do background check on the ERP system, you'll find an organization. Now, also, please do note that you go and do research from a profound or a well-known website. Do not just go and randomly pick out things from Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not a reliable source. Let me tell you right now. Okay, and also do not direct copy and paste. Why? Because I have the plagiarism right given right at the very bottom. If you exceed 50%, you'll be asked to resubmit. I think some of you did. I'd ask you about 4 or 5 people. I did ask you to go and resubmit this, and I will do the same. And if you do not resubmit, you get 0. Above 20%, there's a marked reduction. Okay, so please ensure you're picking up a reliable source, and then you're not directly copying and pasting. First of all, I need you to go and read. I need you to go and understand, summarize things, and write it down in your own words. You need to understand what you're writing, right? Okay, 4, identify the ERP components adopted by the company and its integration success. Okay, so you need to go and identify what all ERP components have been adopted and integrated into the organization. How is the implementation changed or impacted business operations? Okay, so you need to go and find out whether, if you're saying it's a success, okay, so how it has impacted the business. If it had failed, how it had impacted the business likewise. Do not go around making up things. Okay, I will mark this, and I'll take time and mark this. I will do my sort of research on this as well. Okay, by the way, I have written down this question after considering certain things, after considering certain organizations and seeing what are the pros and the cons of these kind of applications, and I can easily go and analyze and evaluate what you're writing. Okay, 6, what are the challenges faced and how it can be resolved? So if there are some challenges faced, how it can be resolved. This is where you'll put in your own suggestions. Okay, how if there's example, the cost is too high, how can you control the costs? If timeliness is an issue, how can timeliness be controlled, and all those things. Now, 7, do a SWOT analysis of pre and post implementation of the ERP system. That means you will take the organization, you'll do a SWOT analysis, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of these organizations, and do it before the implementation and do it after the implementation. It's like pre versus post. And finally, you'll give in your recommendation and conclusion. Now remember, conclusion is a sum up. Okay, recommendation and conclusion, you can put it together as in one. All right. Now, you can also include about the business processes used in the case, ethical and privacy issues if stated in the business, information security, use of databases, and how the business is adapting to evolving of new technologies. Ensure your report is properly documented and references if you've used any references. Now, definitely you will have references. Why? ERP, where did you go and know about the ERP? You didn't formulate the information yourself. Okay, you got it from somewhere, so definitely you have to put it down in the reference. I would suggest for you to use APA referencing if possible. Okay, APA referencing will have an in-text citation and also a reference itself. And also, please ensure to include a table of content. And this is how your structure is going to be. Now, if I go back to critic writing, out of all the submissions, there were 6 submissions we did not follow the structure that was given in the question. Now, if you do not follow the structure that was given in the section, what will happen is you'll have half mark each deducted straight away from each of these, because I will be allocating marks based on these subtopics. If there's no subtopic, it becomes so difficult to go and identify what is where in that particular set of paragraphs that you've written. Okay, so please ensure to include your subtopic and follow the structure which is given. Right, so you have introduction, so you can introduce about the ERP system and the organization, and then you'll have to do a background and history. So the background and history carries 5 marks, so out of which you can half it up, 2.5 for the ERP system and 2.5 for the organization that use the ERP system and how it has implemented the ERP systems. And then SWOT analysis, 5 marks for pre and 5 marks for post implementation. You have to do a literature review. In the literature review, you have to overall talk about the organization once again, okay? And you have to go around talking about how the implementation has been carried on. Now, in the literature review, you will talk about points 3 and points 4, point 5, and point 6, okay? In your introduction, probably you will go and do a brief background on part 2, okay? In impacts and challenges, okay, impacts and challenges basically comes from question number 6, and you have in conclusion and implementation, and finally you have your references. Now, after you've done that, remember these all carries 10%. After you've done that, okay, you need to go and make a presentation. Now, this is where the challenge gets leveled up. Okay, and I wanted to do this on purpose because you are 700 level students. Most of you are working, some of you will start working. You should be ready for challenges. So in here, what you'll do is you'll do a presentation. However, this presentation won't be hosted over Zoom. This presentation will be prepared through the use of a presentation video of about 10 to 12 minutes. So how do you make a video? I will suggest for you to make a video through the use of Zoom. Remember how, just notice how I am doing things on Zoom. You can do the same. You can log in using your own username and password, and then you can create a short and simple 10 to 20 minutes of a Zoom presentation. Share your slides and speak on the background. You and your group member need to come together for this. If your group member is not able to come together, you can always go and share things on Zoom. For example, I'm speaking, you're also speaking, you can do the same. Now, this video needs to be uploaded on Google Drive. So when you upload on Google Drive, others will not be able to see your videos unless and until you give them a shared access. So you need to do that. How to do that? Research it up. And once you have done the shared access, open up a notepad file or a text file and save the link for that video inside that particular file. So when you're submitting, your submission needs to come in a zipped folder. We should have the document for your report, and also the text file carries the link, okay, which carries the link. So this will contribute 15% towards your coursework and needs to be submitted in the Dropbox provided. Now, plagiarism, you have instructions given, please read through. The important one I've highlighted, accepted rate is 20%. Marks will be deducted for any similarity index in 1018 above 20%. If your assessment goes to a plagiarism rate of 50% or more, it shall not be accepted. You will be given 48 hours to resubmit. If you're not able to submit within 48 hours, your marks will be deducted, or in other words, not deducted, your assessments won't be accepted and will be rewarded a mark of 0. I hope this clears things up. Now, overall, this is not difficult. Okay, if I would compare to the level of other assessments I've given to other 700 level courses, especially to my CSI students, theirs would be way more difficult than this. Okay, it's just that I'm not too familiar of how you've been doing things, especially with the Department of Commerce. In other words, how much trained up you are in presenting, how much trained up you are in analyzing data, how trained up you are in terms of evaluating and forecasting data. Okay, with our BSc CSIS students or BIS students, we do that from level 5 beginning. Okay, so I've kept it simple. It's an easy research. Go and research about the ERP, go and research about the organization that uses the specific ERP that you've chosen. Okay, find out all in the ERP components that were integrated and implemented. Okay, what all changes it has caused with the business operations, what all challenges and opportunities came up from those with the implementation of the ERP within the organization. Do a pre and post SWOT analysis, make a conclusion, and after that, make a video out of it. So that's easy 15% towards your coursework. Is there any questions and any queries from anyone? No? If no questions or no queries, this is where we'll conclude the class for today. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking out your time, those of you who are available online, and those of you who will be viewing the videos later onwards. I appreciate your efforts in making time to watch the videos despite the busy schedules. And if you're really facing difficulties, feel free to drop me an email. There are some students who are in constant email conversation with me in terms of if they have questions or queries. I like it. Okay, I do like people sending me emails or communicating with me over things that they may not be so sure of. So please do feel free to drop me emails. I definitely reply within 24 hours. Okay. Yeah. So till then, take care. Stay safe, everyone. It's Friday. Have a blessed weekend ahead. Try to spend some time for CIN708 as well as your other courses as well. Try to get all the assessments done before time so that you're not compiling everything for the final few weeks. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. See you all in next week's class. Winaka.